Don't you even dare.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Out of Our League. My name is Gage. Joining me today, down below... Oh, God, I was messed with the layouts on the actual stream. So it's below me, but in the bottom right corner for everybody else, we have Philip J. Woodward.
Hello.
And then down below, we have Ben at Please Be Excited.
What's up?
And then joining us today... Oof. I forgot I was going to ask you how to properly pronounce your last name because it's a toughie, but I totally forgot. So I'm just going to say MarioNotBros.
For this. That's a cop-out. Thank you for having me.
Piacquadio.
It's Piacquadio. There you go. He knows. He's been on the show.
Okay.
Piacquadio.
Awesome.
How you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. And speaking of pretty good, I just want to say, you're pretty good.
I love your snakes so much, Phil. It's the best. It's the best.
It is. We didn't have it last week, sadly, because Phil wasn't on the Matt Batson episode. So
I missed the last two. I missed Mario. Oh my gosh, from
Rivera.
Rivera. Thank you. Formerly from Dual Shockers, and now what's his new thing? The new thing.
You're gonna say Dual Shockers?
Dual Shockers. Wow,
You almost said it though. I swear. Maybe that's what they could be called now. After
they are
Shockers.
Dual Shockers for sure.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dual Shockers. Oh God. But what's his new thing? What's
Point in Progress? That's the site he's on now, or YouTube channel, or both, whatever.
And then I missed Batson yesterday or the other day too. So
yeah, I was able to do the one for Mario, but it wasn't great,
okay.
And then I totally missed for Batson.
You guys didn't miss anything. They both suck. They're both terrible people. It's okay.
I was busy on a sneaking mission
There
under
you
a
go.
cardboard box. I'm sorry.
Can you say Shadow Moses for me? Just say it.
Shadow Moses.
I love it so much.
so
Isn't
good.
it?
That's actually Phil's real voice. You know, he's putting this voice on now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, can you do I Am Groot as Vin Diesel?
Ooh.
I am Groot.
It's pretty good.
Multi-talented man over there.
I know, it pisses me off every single time.
It's not. To be fair, that one wasn't quite as deep as it could have been for.
It's okay.
But
I'll take it. It's not bad.
Still
You know, they
pretty good.
do some editing on his. It's okay.
Definitely.
There's a time and a place for Vin Diesel.
God, it's just it's too spot on.
It's fun.
It's
It's a
so-
fun.
Let's just do an entire show where we just talk to all of Phil's different characters. How about that?
Oh, no.
That's
Having
that's a
conversations.
whole show.
That's not why we're here. That's not why
It
we're
gets
here.
old 10 minutes in, it gets super old.
I've pitched that idea before of doing a whole show where Phil, like, I'll just put an image of Vin Diesel up. He'll be Vin Diesel. And then Ben can do his god-awful Gilbert Godfrey impression.
Nice.
Ben, you want to do it for us?
I'm not doing it, Gage. I'm not doing it.
Oh, please. Please. This is the impressions episode of one of our leagues.
Hello, Gage!
Why is he
Oh,
burning
God.
my ears?
Why is he
I don't
British
know.
now?
I love how normally when you do that, you can actually hear it. That was just all distortion. Like the microphone could
was.
not
It
handle it
was,
at
yeah.
all.
It did not. It couldn't. It didn't have the power to hold it.
That was a great impression, Ben. I loved it.
Oh God, you can use
God.
Schwarzenegger. Fuck you, Bill. God damn it.
Welcome to Out of Our League, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, before we get too derailed from this, I guess we should just start off with the most generic question. Mario, who are you? Why do people know about you?
Hi, I'm Mario. MarioNotBros, colloquially known because my last name is difficult. If you guys didn't get that from the beginning of the show, I do a bunch of content. I have a podcast called One Big Topic, and Mr. Ben, please be excited. He's been on the show. I
Great
stream on
show.
Twitch. I have a YouTube channel, and I'm on Twitter. Way too much. Everything's at MarioNotBros. That's what I do.
I hear that.
I spend a lot of time there, and I also have a kind of funny tattoo. A lot of people know me for that.
Awesome.
Were you, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the first with the kind of funny tattoo, is that right?
At this point, I'm not sure, but I think I might have been. But I think somebody else maybe had it before, but like it wasn't like known. So I think I'm the first guy I'm the first one that the guy saw. I was like, oh shit.
Is that
I
the
can curse.
firefly
Can I-
tattoo as well?
It is a firefly tattoo. I can curse on this
Nice.
show, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fucking fine.
Okay, cool. Love it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I got a fun one for you.
We don't mind if you fucking curse.
Oh, I've never heard Snake curse before.
I know, it's so weird.
Ooh, that felt wrong. I felt like I shouldn't have heard that.
It felt real weird. I didn't like doing it either.
I want you to get in that box, and I want you to do it fucking now.
Jesus Christ. It's like Snake, slow. Otacon is in the corner like, whoa, Snake, no.
Stop pissing yourself, Otacon. Get out of the fucking locker.
Wow, this is the R-rated.
Oh my god,
it really is. It got demonetized instantly.
shit! Now
That's okay. We don't have anything that is monetized yet, so it's fine.
Fair.
Now I just want to do a redub of Metal Gear Solid with just that every private scene, just Snake,
Just aggressive Snake.
Metal fucking Gear.
My God, is that a Metal Gear fucking Rex?
Normally we wait 20 minutes into the show before we're completely off the rails, but
I hope this is a record. If anything, I hope that the energy
think
I
it
brought
is.
in just immediately fucked up the show.
I think this is the soonest we've ever done this.
It's that sexy lighting you've got.
Thank you. It does it.
It is
does
really
it.
good.
I think. Here's for you. I forgot to do this.
Hey.
I forgot to do that.
Nice.
It looks even better now.
Love it. So back to the actual show. So my question to you, I'm just curious how you got kind of started in the whole, podcasting and streaming thing. Was that something you always kind of wanted to do, was be on camera and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's been like a lifelong thing of mine to get into the video game industry and into the entertainment industry as a whole. Back when I first had the dreams of it, it started as the traditional, I'm gonna go to journalism school and I'm gonna become a video game journalist. And slowly as the world sort of evolved past that, I did too. And I had a couple semi-successful shows on YouTube for a while there that I did that were fun, but there was something called You're Awesome, Here's Why that garnered a lot of great positivity and great reactions and stuff. But I wanted to be able to make stuff a little bit more consistently, and that really started with streaming. Over, I think it was probably a year and a half ago where I really started streaming regularly, and from there I had the idea to do the podcast, and that started to come weekly. And yeah, I'm in this groove now where the podcast and the streaming are my two main things, but I'm trying to maintain a healthy content of YouTube videos too, just to kind of, diversify as much as possible.
Awesome. So kind of piggybacking off of that, tell us about One Big Topic, because I think that's probably the thing that most people are more aware of. Obviously, they know you from the community and from streaming and Twitter, like you said. But One Big Topic was something that kind of popped up, and I don't know if it's true or not, but at least from my point of view, that was like the first big community-based podcast that really started that did include members of Kind of Funny. So how did that kind of come to be? Yeah,
I wouldn't say it was the first. I definitely did a few. Kyle Stevenson, a friend of mine, he did a great show called Best Friends Talk Funny that is sort of an inspiration in a way for the show. But, the way that it came to be, I always knew that I wanted to do a podcast at some point. But I was always scared of the idea of having guest-based shows. As I'm sure you guys know, like it can be super stressful to have a show that is based on bringing guests in and making sure that you have them for the week and making sure that you have a different topic to discuss with the new guests every week, and making sure that you don't fall into that sort of that repetition where every show is just like the same 5 questions, or I'm sure you guys understand what I'm talking about. So I noodling around in my head for a while of what I wanted my podcast to be. I decided that why don't I, instead of making the focus on the show the guests and who's coming in, why don't I make the focus of the show whatever we're talking about, and then I can bring somebody in based on what I want to talk about rather than the other way. and that's where One Big Topic came to be. It's all about the one topic that I choose, and sometimes I don't even need a guest. Sometimes I just want to ramble into the microphone for 30-40 minutes, and I can do that because the format of the show allows me to not have to constrict myself to like, oh shit, I need a guest for next week and I need to talk about this thing. So who knows about this thing? It can just be like it can be more sort of relaxed than that. And that's where the idea of the show really came to be.
Yeah, we have that in the Photoshop challenge. So like if for some reason we don't have something lined up, we still have the Photoshop challenge to kind of fall back on, and it kind of breaks up some of the that repetition that you're talking about. So yeah, I definitely understand, especially the questions thing. Because yes, you always want to make sure you try and cover those certain questions, like what do you do, what inspires you, how do you keep from burning out, stuff like that. Like those are great things to ask. I feel like most people, but it can always be hard to try and make sure that you make every experience and every guest feel unique, and kind of adhere to their kind of personality and really try and bring them out on the show.
Totally.
So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, that's the way that's one of the reasons why, and I mean, Ben's been on the show, so he knows kind of how I go about it, that somebody that I know or that I want to connect with, I reach out to them, I tell them the idea of the show. And most of the time, unless I know them personally and I know they would want to talk about this, it's more of a conversation of like, hey, like, what do you want to talk about? Like, do you have anything in particular that's interesting? I mean, like one of the first episodes I did was with a friend of mine, Nathan, and they were just kind of like spitballing around of different topics that we could talk about, and they were saying, oh, we could talk about this, and they said, hell, I could talk about the GameCube for an hour if you need me to. And I was like, that sounds like a fucking great topic. Let's do it. Let's do the GameCube. And we just talked about the GameCube for an hour and a half. And I'm glad that I came up with a format that isn't. I'm not sort of bounding myself. I can really get out there and get crazy with it if I feel like it.
That's awesome. And honestly, that can lead right into another question. How do you keep yourself from burnout? Like, what do you do to kind of keep yourself motivated, keep yourself going?
The honest like raw truth is that this is sort of my third time going around the content creation business, because I've burnt out before, but I've sort of made a little bit of a system that's better for myself, because the first time around that I started making content and tried to making a splash, it's other than now, probably my most successful one. Like the videos were getting a lot of views, and that was for You're Awesome, Here's Why, where the concept of that show is one that I'm still really proud about. All that it was is me just highlighting somebody that I think is doing great work and sort of like shout them out. Really, it was like a big shout out show, and it put a lot of positivity into the world. A lot of people saw them. A lot of people were really supportive. The people that I made the videos about usually would reach right back and it gave me some cool connections with people. But the problem with that show is that as a weekly thing, even though I like to be a positive person, life isn't all the time positive, and sometimes you are not feeling positive and giddy and uppy. And at some point I was making these videos, and not only do they feel repetitive, but they felt not as genuine anymore, where in every single video I was like, you're great, you are such a hard worker, and I enjoy what you do. And it started getting sort of tough to keep looking at the camera and pretending everything is awesome when like I'm going through shit in my own life just like everybody is. And that burned me out for a while, and I just straight up disappeared for a minute. And it's tough to burn out and go back after having some sort of success, because you can easily go into the blame game of like, oh man, I was on the uprise and I screwed up my momentum and I'm all the way back. But it took me a while to realize like, oh, maybe I can start streaming. It's a little bit more of a comfortable format for me right now, where I can be a little bit more of myself. I don't have to, try to be more positive than maybe I'm feeling that day or that week. And, the streaming thing for a while, it burned me out too. Because I think my biggest problem was that I was relying a little bit too much on myself, in the sense that, especially with streaming, it's obviously always a great time to collaborate with people. And I think in general for content creation, it's important to collaborate with people, to not bring yourself out, because once it's all on you and you do everything and you do all the editing and you do all the hosting and you do all the talking, it gets tiring and it gets kind of lonely. And I was streaming 3 to 4 days a week, and it was just me playing whatever game I was playing. It could have been single player or multiplayer. And, it was really fun at first, and I was garnering a certain amount of success too, but at some point it just got tiresome, and it got a little lonely, and it got a little rough for me to, sit there and talk to people in chat, or maybe that one night there was only one person or no people in the chat, and I'm just, talking to nothing for 4 hours. It gets rough. So this go around at it, the two big key things that I'm focusing on right now, allow me to have a certain degree of collaboration, allow me to not necessarily rely on other people, but have other people that can make either making the content more fun for me or different and spice it up. So for one big topic, even though I have a few solo shows here and there, I could have three solo shows back to back to back. The next show I'll have some cool guest that maybe is a friend of mine, or maybe somebody that I've never met and I'm talking to them for the first time for this show. And as for the streaming, I've made a point recently to make sure that at least some of my streams a week, and it's been honestly almost all of my streams, but at least a good amount of them are me playing with other people, having fun with other people, not putting all the pressure of doing everything myself. I have my good friend Emmett, who he plays Apex Legends with me all the time, and I have Nick Scarpino, who you guys might know. We're playing we're playing Warzone a lot. I never heard of him. He's a hack. We've been playing Warzone a lot, and having other people that I can riff around with and that I can make jokes with, and sort of have my back for making entertaining content has been huge. Ever since I started doing that, I've noticed my streaming numbers have not only gone up in the terms of statistics, but in the term of how many hours I've been streaming and how many days out of the week I've been streaming, because it's suddenly not a thing that I'm gearing myself up for. Like, all right, I gotta entertain these people. It's more like, shit, I'm hanging out with my friends and we're talking to some cool people in the chat. So I think collaboration is a really, really big part to not burn out, at least in my experience.
So first of all, I just want to say I did see that you were playing with Nick Scarpino, and I thought that was awesome. It's always nice to see people interacting with the community, from Kind of Funny. I think a lot of our audience and a lot of the people that watch what we do are also from the Kind of Funny community. Right. And I think we all appreciate, when one of the members of Kind of Funny collaborates or takes time out of their day to like hang out with us. It's so cool.
Totally. Yeah, they're great people over there, and I've, over the years, being a fan of them for so long, and being somebody that a name that they've known for such a long time, I've developed a certain relationship with some of the guys over there. So it's great to be able to, if you had told Mario from years ago, it's like, hey, you'd be playing games with Nick Scarpino on an almost weekly basis, I'm like, all right, sure thing. But it's they're just good dudes over there, and they know what they're doing, and they're really, really kind people.
That's awesome.
So Mario, you mentioned obviously with one big topic, obviously just the amount of work involved with editing and everything, and obviously with Burnout, have you considered potentially maybe getting someone in to help, or someone else to guest or anything like that at all in the future to try and help out with that kind of thing?
It's definitely been a thought in my head. It wouldn't hurt to have somebody that helps out, especially because my next big thing that I'm trying to get into is more consistent making of YouTube videos, because out of everything that I do, what takes up the most amount of work is YouTube videos by far. There's a script that you have to write, and then you have to record it, and then you have to edit it, and then you have to make sure that a lot of different things are done right. And that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And as somebody who has a day job as well, who's, unfortunately, I'm not making all of my money full time on content creation. It's a tough act to balance. So it's been a thought for sure that it would be nice to get some help. But I think right now my operation is still small enough that for those kinds of things, I'm still taking care of most of the back end. And, you know, once I either my own stuff grows or I'm able to go somewhere else where I can do things with other people, then I'll think about that stuff more. But it's also good to have the experience of it, because obviously somebody who's trying to grow in the industry, listen, I would love if my Twitch channel skyrockets and I can become a streamer full time. That would be great. But that doesn't mean that there's not other possible goals for me. Like, it's no secret to anybody that working Kind of Funny has always been a dream for me and has always been a thing that I've been building towards. And, you know, if that comes to be because of the work that I've put in and, you know, the man hours that I've put into the back ends of streaming and writing scripts and making YouTube videos and making podcasts, then it's all worth it at the end.
I mean, let's be fair. Nick's going to be retiring any month now, so he's going to have a spot open.
He's got to take those pension checks.
So is it the end goal for you, Mario? Or is it ideally where you'd like to end up long term?
I think so. I think for a while it's just been sort of the one thing that is realistic in a way, just given that I have some sort of connection with the people from Kind of Funny, and you know they like to home grow their talent. Everybody that they've hired from the community, so it's not like it's a 1 in a million chance. It's always been an open dream. It's been a public dream of mine that everything that I'm building towards originally stemmed from, I'm going to do this so I eventually get to work at Kind of Funny, which doesn't mean that dreams don't evolve. And it doesn't mean that, you know, other avenues aren't opening and, you know, full-time Twitch streaming could be a thing or whatever it may be. But everything at its core started from there. As a massive Kind of Funny net fan, big enough that I got a big ass tattoo of it on my forearm. It would definitely be the payoff to everything that is started.
That's awesome. So thinking about like the cool things you've been doing lately, if you could choose one thing that kind of like is your favorite moment off the top of your head that you've been doing so far, what do you think that is?
God, there's a lot. I mean, I think just in general, it's just because it's recent. I would say like the last, I'm gonna say like 2 months or so of Twitch streaming has been the most fun I've had on streams and the most entertaining I think my streams have been. And that's really been because of, like I was saying earlier, the collaboration that the people around me that have helped me make the content better, and Emmett Watkins and Nick Scarpino and everybody who's joined me and who's done things with me. I mean, I've had like a couple streams where it was me, Blessing, Fran, and Nick, and we were all just playing Warzone for like 3 hours, and that's a great time. You know, it's so much more fun, not just for me, but for anybody who'd be watching, to watch that versus just me talking to a microphone playing Warzone. Because, you know, it's not like I'm a fucking pro player or anything. So the entertainment comes from whatever we're saying, whatever we're doing. And those have been a highlight. Those have kind of reinvigorated my love for streaming and my, you know, kind of reigniting the idea that I'm on a right path. Wherever it leads, I'm on some sort of right path.
That's awesome. That's freaking rad.
Thank you.
I think that's one of the biggest things is staying positive, and enjoying what you're doing, whether it is YouTube videos, whether it is Twitch streaming. It's definitely, I think, like when you look at Kind of Funny and like Party Mode, for example, you know, a lot of fans really loved Party Mode, but it was like that core small audience that loved Party Mode.
Right.
It was a lot of work for Andy to do. And that doesn't mean that Andy didn't love doing Party Mode, but it also means that, you know, it was too much work for the payoff. And, you know, sometimes you have to make those kind of sacrifices. Do you feel like you've had to make any sacrifices in the content that you make, as far as things you've had to like kind of take out of your life or shuffle around or whatnot to kind of follow this path?
Yeah, I think there's a few. I mean, it's certainly a tough path because you're sort of living the double life of, you know, obviously as a big starting content creator, you can't fully focus on it because you have to pay rent and you have to pay your bills at the end of the day. So I always sort of say that because, you know, sometimes I go through financial stuff where we're living paycheck to paycheck, and I've had people in my life be like, "Oh, why don't you get a second job?" It's like, well, the thing you don't understand is I have two jobs. It's just that the second one, as of right now, pays really shitty, really bad pay. But it's a job. It's a job. Like I there's days where I'm working, you know, from 8 in the morning to 7 p.m. and I make it home, and, you know, I just got a little bit of time to eat and change and take a quick shower before I maybe have to record another podcast or do a podcast and a stream, and then I have to make sure that that podcast is updated, and then boom, there's your entire day. You worked your entire day, and I'm not saying that it's not fun work, but it's work. Just because you're having fun doing it and just because you love doing it, which I genuinely do, doesn't take away the fact that it takes a lot of man hours, and it's exhausting. It can be really, really exhausting. So that's definitely one of the things. And, you know, managing a relationship with all that is definitely, you're juggling a lot of plates at the same time. And, you know, you have to make a few compromises here and there with your personal life. And even when with the content, like I was saying, I've had to put a few shows on hiatus. I came back probably I took like a 2 or 3 month break from streaming just because everything was sort of getting out of control and I wasn't enjoying any aspect of my life because everything was sort of kind of like a little bit too much and I was overwhelming myself. So it's a tough balancing act. I think recently I've been finding it the best that I've been able to, because I've been putting enough on my plate, and I think now that I'm sort of on this great new routine, I can start looking to expand further. Because there's no ways that when I'm struggling to make, you know, Twitch streams, there's no way that I can be like, well, I'm gonna make YouTube videos too, because it's impossible. You're gonna overwhelm yourself. You're gonna burn out. So you have to know when to draw the line, and then when you can achieve and go chase whatever the next big thing you want to chase is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm kind of in awe when you think about the fact that, yeah, yes, all of us, all the Simply Sassy members, live in different time zones. We still have the ability to kind of like have Robin make a thumbnail, have Gage run a show, make a layout, communicate with Nick Scarpino to make some intro music for a dumb show idea that we have, because Ben has this brilliant brain. Sorry, that's my own self-deprecation coming in. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. Nothing against you, Ben.
Yeah.
I was going to say, for new content creators, if you are listening to this, I will say absolutely check out the episode of One Big Topic with Mario and Andy Cortez, because if I had listened to that before I started content creating, man, let me tell you, there was just some really good advice and stuff in there. So absolutely check it out. It's so good.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a good one. Andy just basically went through his whole career, and you know, it goes to show there's not one path to a career. If you listen to that show, there's not one way to make it into the industry. There's not a textbook way. And, you know, a thing that I struggled with for a long time was sort of seeing other people that I'm friends with or people that I know that are around me sort of, you know, get what they deserve in the way of suddenly getting a lot of success and suddenly garnering a lot of attention. And, you know, I had to struggle with the feeling of being happy for them, but, you know, also, you know, deprecating yourself and saying, oh, why didn't I get that opportunity? And how come I'm still behind? Maybe I'm not built for this because these people are doing it. And understanding that either they're doing something different that you're not doing, or they've been doing this for a lot longer than you have, and they've been due for it. It's an important one that it's a tricky one to deal with, but, you know, it's it's important, I think.
We had a wonderful guest on not too long ago, Ryan Colt Levi, who is a voice actor. And he said something really interesting that has really resonated with me. And that's that, every time you send an audition out, you may not make it, but just know that that person, that producer, that, voice director wants you to succeed. He wants you, or she wants you to be that next voice that they get to cast. It's just that at that moment for that role, it wasn't quite right. That doesn't mean that the right role isn't out there for you. So it's like, if you missed an opportunity, it may not be because, you were better or worse than the other person, but that they were the person that was right for the role. And there is a right role out there for you, and you're going to find it. And that really resonated with me and helped me, because I got really discouraged sending out audition tapes and stuff. And I stopped for like 3 years for trying to get, stuff. And because of KFAF and because of the Kind of Funny community and because of all the wonderful Simply Sassy guys, I was reinvigorated. We started, just joking around, and I started submitting again. And I actually got a very small gig, but it was my first gig,
Nice.
like small voice acting thing. And so like, now I'm trying to do, bigger auditions and stuff like that. So we'll see in the future. But anyway, long story short,
Hashtag get Phil in a video game.
get Phil in a video game.
Using that hashtag.
Totally.
But that really resonated with
by the
me.
way.
So
I did that behind the microphone, so nobody saw that. It just looked like I was flipping myself off.
I got you.
Not Phil Spencer. He's in enough video games there.
But on the flip side, I definitely know what you mean as far as like seeing someone succeed and you're happy for that person. But at the same time, it's like, well, God, like, why couldn't I have been that person? I totally understand that.
Yeah. I want to let other people speak because I was speaking, but I want to say that,
This is your show.
Yeah, this is all about you, dude.
I guess it's a good time. I guess it's true. Just hear me speak for hours and hours. No,
can I lift him up? Am I in a space where I can lift him up? I don't
actually, technically, yes. He's right above you.
I feel it.
Is he this way? I don't know.
No, somebody who's been like, around our circle. I'm sure you guys have heard of him or have seen him. Paris Lilly, who's now currently one of the permanent hosts on the Kind of Funny X cast and has been just killing it this year and then the last year. He recently had been talking about something that really struck a chord with me, where he had told himself that 2020 was going to be the last year that he was going to go to gaming events and that he was going to try to make it in the industry. And he had been in the industry for 11 years, or at least trying to break it into the industry for 11 years prior to that. Attending shows, making connections. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying by any chance that he was like completely failing, but he wasn't getting to where he wanted to get to. And he was ready to give up. He had already given himself, sort of his own deadline. And, as I'm sure you guys know, 2020 was a massive year for him. He sort of became one of the voices of Cyberpunk 2077, of like the community who wanted like the game so badly, and started to do really fucking cool shit and started to get insane numbers on Twitch and on his YouTube videos, and started being the fucking co-host of the XCast, and suddenly a name in the industry, like a cared, important voice in the industry. And he was ready to give it all up because he had been trying for so long. And it goes to show that there's no, like I was saying, there's no one path. It can take, sometimes there's somebody that comes in and in 1 week they have 1 million followers, and sometimes it takes you 11 years. But if you allow yourself to evolve your content and you allow yourself to grow and make things better and not get stuck on one thing, and understand that as long as you're making something unique, an audience eventually will come for it. It's gonna come. The audience will come. The numbers will come. Tim Geddes also gave me some great advice one time, where I was telling him that I was sort of struggling with my numbers, and streaming on Twitch and seeing that I only had like 2 viewers was fucking with me a little bit. And seeing that wasn't going up, and seeing that my followers weren't going up, and seeing that my Twitter followers were stuck at one number. And he told me that the truth of the matter is that you can't focus on the numbers until you have to, until focusing on the numbers is the thing that you have to do. At first, you just have to focus on what you're making, and you have to enjoy what you're doing. And then the numbers will start coming. And then when the numbers start coming, then you switch your focus to that. And I'm not saying just focus on the numbers, but you start understanding why those numbers are coming and you start growing that. And that hits with me because it, as a small content creator, you can definitely get into the game of like, well, this podcast got 20 views, but my last one only got 10. So should all of my podcasts be like this one with 20 views because that's doubled? You can't focus with that. You can't fuck with that because it's gonna mess with your head and you're gonna be sent down the wrong path.
I definitely struggled with that whole thing. Like there was a moment in time where I was stuck at like 500 or something followers. And then something happened. I think it was when we really started to ramp up and start doing the Photoshop challenges for Simply Sassy and stuff like that, that I kind of forgot about any of that. Like that whole, oh, how many notifications have I gotten today? Because you get it's like that rush of endorphins, that it's like that pleasure center of like being able to look at that and be like, hey, people like what I'm doing. That's awesome. But I absolutely agree. Like when we started doing the Photoshop challenge and the stuff on YouTube, I stopped thinking about that stuff. I stopped thinking about it and just started enjoying what we were working on and enjoying what we were doing. And then all of a sudden, I was comparing numbers the other day because we were making a joke about somebody else's followers. And I actually looked at mine and I was like, holy crap, I'm almost at 900 followers now. When did that happen? So yeah, it's crazy how it can just switch. And yeah, you just can't concentrate on it, especially when, at this point, we're not, anybody. We're just people just trying to have a good time and lift everybody up.
To be fair, you did make an awesome Rahul Kohli as
That's
Reed
true.
Richards. So that Photoshop really blew you up pretty big.
Fair.
Talk about
like twice, actually.
Right time, right place, never know what's gonna hit sort of thing.
Yeah, it really is those ones that like you can think of a tweet for like years and you're like, this is the smartest joke in the world and it's gonna get 2 legs, and you can just post the stupidest thing that you're like you didn't even think about, and then you check your phone back, it's like, oh, I'm at like, what the hell, I'm in like 1,000 retweets. Like that happened to me recently where, speaking of we were talking about the MCU like before recording the show. I've been watching WandaVision and stuff like just everybody else on the planet. And I had this like dumbass tweet where I was like, man, because I like in a specific episode I saw Paul Bettany. I'm like, this dude is really fucking good looking. Like, damn. And so I tweeted, I was like, listen, I knew I had a massive crush on Elizabeth Olsen, but I didn't expect it to get one on Paul Bettany. That's the biggest surprise of WandaVision. And I put my phone down and I kept watching the episode. And I go back to it and it's at like 300 retweets. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Okay. I guess people agree. Like, it's just weird like that.
Right.
I had that epiphany during A Knight's Tale. I'm just saying.
Nice.
Wow. That's a deep cut.
This is a piece of wisdom, man. He's great. He's so talented.
He is great. I love Paul Bettany. He's fantastic.
So speaking of Paul Bettany.
Oh, wait, real quick. Ben wouldn't know anything about, posting a really dumb tweet that gets a bunch of likes versus a really smart tweet that doesn't get any likes. I'm just saying.
Never.
No, that's definitely not my life,
No, definitely not.
Okay, sorry, Ben. Sorry. I just needed to get that out there.
I was going to segue. I was going to say, speaking of Paul Bettany, who is one big guest that you'd really want to have on the show? Or maybe if you've got multiple people in mind.
Oh my God. Let me see. I was thinking of like dream guests. Okay. A dream guest that for me to have on the show is from podcasts that I love. If you follow my Twitter at all, you know that I'm like a massive fucking sports nerd. Like I live and breathe sports when I'm not being a huge video game nerd.
Burning after yesterday's loss from the Wild Aces.
Right. So there's this podcast that I always listen to. Yeah, sure. Shout out to the Wild Aces. There's a podcast that I've always listened to that it's called R2C2, and it's a former Yankee and like one of the big Yankees sort of newscast people, Brian Rucco and CC Sabathia, and they have like what is probably one of my favorite podcasts in the world, and getting either one of them on the show would be like a total fucking pipe dream.
Hey, you never know, dude. You never know.
Shoot
You
your shot.
you really don't.
We somehow got Mike Bithell to come in and do an interview. Like, well, what is life?
Why not?
Yeah,
Why
that
not?
was-
You never know unless you try. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
We got MarioNotBros on the show, so you know.
That's right.
True.
Right?
We got Johnny
Shoot your shot,
Ace.
you know.
Johnny Ace flew in
We
from
did.
Malta to be
Yeah,
on the
Johnny
show.
Ace.
Like that's
I
the
know.
crazy thing.
That's crazy. Yeah.
He also
He's very
wanted
exclusive.
he wanted me to see death multiple times, which I was very offended by.
Sounds all right.
Threatening my life.
Sounds all right. Sounds like
I
sounds like the
deserved
guy.
it, but I mean, still.
It's a tough love relationship between you two. you know?
Right. Yeah. Ace is a complicated man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
just
speaking
hurting
of,
after that loss. You know?
yeah. Speaking of dumb tweets, yeah, I made a really dumb tweet yesterday because I thought with 8 seconds on the clock, there was no way we could lose. So I had to go take dinner out of the oven. And I typed up this tweet, was like, hey, awesome game. Loved hanging out with everybody. I'm so happy that we won. Sent that out and went to go do dinner. And I come back to my phone to like 30 notifications that were like, oh, should we tell him? Oh, no. Oh, you're not going to be happy. Oh, Phil, I've got something to tell you. And I'm like, oh, no.
It's a Hail
We were-
Marys. That's how they get you.
We were laughing so hard in the watch along. It was so funny. Dude.
That's great. I love that.
However, regardless, though, shout out to the FCF, though. They actually got on ESPN, from what I heard. That play
Nice.
got on the top 10
What a
plays
play.
of the day. So I
Good job.
can't confirm that, but that's what I heard. So that's kind of cool if true.
You got to give
That
it
is
to Zippers,
cool.
man. That last play was incredible. Yeah.
That was a
Right.
great play. Like, unfortunate that it's against the Wild Aces, but
Yeah.
fucking great play. Like, damn. It's one of those plays that even though it's against your team, you like get a little excited for it, but it's like, shit, fuck. It's one of those.
Right. 100%.
Definitely.
Oh,
So can we
man.
possibly expect some one big topic on sports coming up? I know you've done it in the past. I think you did the
Yeah.
one after the Michael Jordan documentary, and
I did one like that. I did one when the NBA playoffs were gearing up. I did one when the MLB playoffs were sort of going on. And yeah, like I said, one big topic, you know, is the Seinfeld of podcast, where it's just whatever the fuck I want it to be. It's a show about nothing. So yeah, if something happens where I'm like, I need to talk about this and I feel like talking about this, I'm gonna get somebody that I know would be down to talk about it with. You know, the Knicks, who have been my lifelong pain because they've been really bad for the last 20 years, suddenly are good this year. So fuck, I'm down to talk about that with somebody. So you know, I know, like, for example, Khalif Adams, who's a friend of the show and a friend of mine. I know he's a Knicks fan. So listen, if the Knicks go to the playoffs, I would 1,000% be like, Khalif, you want to talk about the Knicks? Because like, this is crazy. And I'm sure he'd be down. So you never know. I did a podcast about the Nintendo GameCube. So
I was actually going to say earlier, the real reason that Paris became famous was that Khalif Adams, Paris Lily rib beef. The rib
It's the
beef
best.
is my favorite.
God,
great.
I love those two so much. And that like the beef is a gift that keeps on giving. Like it's so funny.
Good. It's
the
so
best.
good.
It's great.
I actually had Demetrius Newell, Gifted Dim. I tweeted at him because he made some ribs based off of one of the Game Over Greggy recipes,
Nice.
Cooking with Greggy recipes, and I was like, real talk though, like we need to get some real opinions on these ribs, and I tagged Khalif and Paris without ever thinking they would see it. And Paris responded, and he was like, okay, there's only one question: oven or smoked?
Mhm.
And Demetrius was like, oven. And then he got roasted a bit, but it was great.
Yeah.
It was great fun.
That's great. That's great. I love that.
Oh, man. So random question that we like to ask. What's your
Hit me.
favorite candy bar?
Oof. Favorite candy bar.
Such
don't
an
know why we
inconsistent
do this.
question. We've only asked that to like 2 guests, but for some reason it keeps popping up like it's
You've
every
asked it
segment.
before.
Hey,
Oh yeah,
I get it.
it's come up 3 times now.
It
after
can
this.
say a lot about a person. Let me think. See, I wouldn't count. I'm not gonna count Reese's as a candy bar. Like that's a different category. I'm not gonna count it. But if I had to say candy bar, I would say Heath, the Heath candy bar. Big fan of
Oh,
those.
Heath bar, nice.
You get the little mini ones. I like the mini ones better than the bar. It's a good time. It's a good time.
The peanut the Good Bar, Mr. Good Bar, also better in mini form than the full bar.
There are some ones that just hit better when it's the mini. Because here's the thing. Here's what I do with the mini. All right, you guys, come on with me. Come here with me. Get ready.
Come on a journey.
So the Heath, the mini bars, they give you the big bag. You have a bunch of them. You open it up. You toss it. What I do 9 out of 10 times, and it always works. I put it in my mouth, and I just keep it there, and I let all the chocolate go away, and then it just leaves me with a nice little chunk of toffee. I just bite that motherfucker, and it brings me right back in because the chocolate is a palate cleanser for the toffee. So you get more chocolate, and then you get toffee. It's a great time. It's 10 out of 10. Love it.
Pro tip, look at that.
It's a pro tip. I've done it quite a bit throughout my entire life, so I recommend it.
Now, if you had to include Reese's in your list, would that be the number one?
Oh, man, any given Monday, you know what I mean? Like, it depends on how I'm feeling. Depends if is it raining outside? I don't know. Like, there's a lot of variables here, Ben. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it too.
When I'm in the aisle and I look at the bags, I'll tell you how I'm feeling.
What about if it's like a Tuesday morning? There's a little bit of mist, a little bit of fog going on. You're on your way to work, but you're feeling like some candy. What are you thinking?
For some reason, the fog just makes me want a Reese's. You said it's a little foggy. I'm like, a Reese's hits right now.
Exactly, that's the right answer.
Yeah.
Speaking of questions that we ask everyone, this is something I have to ask everyone. Okay, so Greg Miller.
Sure do.
There's been multiple theories on the show about what Greg Miller possibly could be. Yeah,
he's a tall man.
Very,
for
very
sure.
tall. So we know that he's in all places at all times. No one quite knows how he does it. But I like to theorize and ask my guests when they're on what their theory could be on what Greg Miller actually is and how he can actually be in all these places at one time. I
think the thing about Greg Miller is that, he was a thought at first. He was he was a sort of spectral being, and he was materialized by like a half psychopathic man, half incredible talented man. It was sort of like his alter ego, and it's one of those situations where you dream about this guy. He thought he's haunting him, and then Greg Miller showed up, and he became a real man, and he started talking to microphones, and the psychopath part comes out every now and then.
I feel like you're saying that he's a literal Nephilim,
basically
born of an angel and a demon at the same time.
You're right. He's a little bit of both. And the angels there most of the time, because Greg Miller's a very sweet, very caring, very giving man. But it every now and then
you get the boost on, and all of a sudden,
every now and then, you just see the seams opening up, and he has to shut him back down because it gets scary there for a sec.
So
great answer.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
I wonder which one I'm going to get on the kind of funny best friend Mario golf stream. Which Greg are we going to get?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be good. Whatever it is,
we'll see if he actually comes on. We'll see.
Well, he
likes Mario Golf. He just dangle the carrot.
Yeah,
he'll follow.
So we also have some community questions. So from one Robin GL, top 10 Taylor Swift songs.
Oh, fuck you, Robin, for that. First of all, you know that's an impossible question.
He wanted to be here to ask it himself today.
I'm glad he's not, because I would have cursed him out. That's a toughest question you can ask me. Shit, no. Listen, okay, I'm gonna answer with a completely different question, but just so you guys can understand, the headspace. When she released her 8th album, right? She's on 9 studio albums right now. And she released her 8th album. I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to rank the albums. And it took me a day and a half to come out with a ranking because I couldn't do it, man. For the life of me, I couldn't do it. And even to this day, I look at this album. It's what I was saying. It depends on the weather outside. It depends on, am I wearing a long sleeve shirt? Am I wearing a short sleeve? Like it changes. Because I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I like that in my number 1, but maybe that one that's at number 5 could climb up. You know what? Maybe that's her best album. So for the songs, it's the worst. It's the worst. I'll say this. I believe to this day, Folklore, her 8th studio album, is her best album. I'll say that. All right.
So
I hope that satisfies
you.
Robin.
All right.
Nothing satisfies Robin until you start bringing
That's
it to
true.
Nier. It's like,
Motherfucker.
Nier Automata, I played it 17 times and got the proper ending finally. What? And he's like, oh, you're my best friend. If you bring up anything else, he's like, go play Nier. Go play Nier. It's like, fuck you, Robin.
Why are you playing Nier yet? Fucking Robin. Hate that guy.
Man, the never satisfied thing really hits because it was a great joke on my stream earlier this morning. So that's great.
That's just a joke in my relationships.
But also,
I'm just kidding. I don't have any.
Man. You gotta stop, Gage. You're digging yourself deeper and deeper. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. Mute your microphone. Stop it. It's getting worse. It's gonna get worse before it gets.
Speaking of Nier Automata, Robin GL asks, "Why is it the greatest game ever?"
Fucking this guy. Go set before King, Robin. Go do it. Go do it. Go distract yourself.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I can't wait for Robin's next question. He's like, when can I be on One Big Topic?
Here's a legitimate question. You do some editing for your YouTube videos and stuff like that. If someone were to want to get into editing, they're a recent streamer, they're new to streaming, and they want to put some videos up on YouTube, but they don't necessarily want to just do the Simply Sassy thing and toss the whole thing up there without any editing.
Hey, fuck you, I do it live.
I was talking about me.
I know, I'm just talking shit.
I'm not someone.
I was talking about me. But he would like, this is from Mr. Mac 92. He would like to know, what do you think the easiest kind of software editing tool might be for someone who doesn't necessarily, maybe they don't have a lot of funds, maybe they are just getting into it and they want something simple. Right. Because I'm sure you've tried different things.
Yeah, when I was like editing videos like in the 4th grade, I was like on the Windows Movie Maker heavy because I've always liked making and editing videos. I would say it also depends on what platform you're on. Obviously, if you have access to any Apple platforms, iMovie is a pretty decent, easy to pick up and to learn how to kind of like basics of editing. Just as long as you know that it maintains on basics of editing. It's not the most powerful software, but if you're just starting out, it's a really great way to start and figure things out. Because if you've never edited a video before, I wouldn't tell you, hey, go buy Final Cut Pro for $300, $400 and go watch some YouTube videos, because you can get overwhelmed really easy. If you want to pick up some easy, quick sort of basics on video editing, I would say do that. And then the standard for video editing really is Premiere. It's what I use now. It's what I switched to from Final Cut Pro to Premiere. The good thing about Premiere is that I think even though it looks really complex and complicated at first when you first look at it, if you want to just take it super basic and super easy, it still allows you to do that. I mean, you can make a high quality movie on Premiere if you wanted to, but you can also just make a bunch of jump cuts, and that's all you need to do. And they have things like free trials and stuff at Adobe, so sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they have like a free week trial. So if you're not exactly sure you want to spend the money, I would say look up some YouTube videos on iMovie or on Premiere, just on the basics, jump cuts and easy, simple stuff. And once you get familiarized with sort of the way that the interface works, the way that I taught myself to edit, honestly, is that I looked up the basics online, and then once I got familiar with the software, I sort of just had an idea for what I wanted to do and said, I'm gonna figure out how the fuck to get there. And sometimes if I have a very specific question of something that I really don't know how to do, then I Google it. But I'm not Googling absolutely everything, because for the most part, if you're comfortable with messing around with software a little bit and kind of playing around with it, you can teach yourself to make pretty cool stuff.
Nice. That's awesome.
Now, speaking of video editing and movies, one of our members here, Josh C, JC Lego Man on Twitter, you might know him. I know he wanted to be here today, but I'm sure he'd absolutely love to know what your favorite movie is.
Ooh. Okay. Good question, first of all. What's my favorite movie? Okay.
We ask some tough questions here.
Yeah, you really do. You get to the bottom of things.
It's like an
Okay.
interrogation.
I'll say my favorite movie for a bit, like if we're talking like film, a serious movie, like Oscar, Academy style movies, has been for a while, has been La La Land. That's a movie that like when I first saw it, like completely fell in love with, and I have a pretty strong like personal connection to it. So I've always adored that movie, and Whiplash by Damien Chazelle too. But just now, like going through the MCU, like I really cannot sit here with a straight face and tell you that Endgame is not one of my favorite movies ever made. Like I can't tell you that, because the emotions that I feel when I watch that movie are like one that literally only that movie can give me. So shit, that one's up there. I love, it's basic, but I love The Empire Strikes Back, and my second favorite Star Wars movie ever is Rogue One. Shout out to Gary Whitta. Like that's a phenomenal movie. I think Into the Spider-Verse is a perfect 10 out of 10 movie. I don't think there's a single thing that is wrong with that movie. But if we're talking, other than our general pop culture nerd sort of stuff, I think I would say La La Land. La La Land is a phenomenal fucking film.
Nice. Well, there you have it, Josh. Some good answers.
One of the greatest things about Endgame, just really quick, is the fact that it's literally like a culmination of over a decade's worth of work that comes together. And yeah, sure, there may or may not be inconsistencies if you think about the whole thing as a whole, but the fact that they managed to do that and managed to bring it together.
They landed the plane and it works.
Huge,
and there's, Endgame has payouts from like the movies that you thought were bad, and it has payouts 100%. From like there's lines that are like, that's the line that they said in that one movie 9 years ago, and here it is. Like it's ridiculous. And going through watching them all, not only back to back, but originally, when Hawkeye pops back up in Endgame, it's a cool moment in and of itself, but with the context of like, I haven't seen this dude in 3 years, it's even cooler. Like shit, this guy's back, and I missed him because it's been 3 years since I last saw him. So
absolutely,
things like that.
Many good payoffs there.
God, that's such a great movie. That's fucking.
I love it. Even in like in Homecoming, like the callback to he's talking to obviously Peter about it's not about the suits, and obviously that's what he learned in Iron Man 3. Just so many great moments, like when you're watching them all back to back.
It's the attention to detail, man.
Even going back to like Civil War, the scene where they're arguing about it, and Tony Stark goes, "That up there, that's the end game," and I'm like, "Oh shit, they did this 5 years ago." It's awesome.
It's great.
I really like this question from McKenna over on Twitter. It's something, and when you're doing an interview, it's something you don't necessarily think about asking somebody. How's your day? How's your day going?
It's pretty good. I'm watching some MCU. I'm off day. I did some running. Me and my partner went out running. Ate some nice food. Watching some MCU movies. We're actually like on Endgame, so it's a good time.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm gonna cry, and when we're done here, I'm gonna go watch some people beat each other up, and I'm gonna cry about it.
That's awesome.
Good day.
Not to bring Taylor Swift back up, but Erica wants to know.
Always do it. You can always bring her up.
If you can't you gave us your favorite album, where you're like currently, but could you give us a favorite song? Just current favorite song, even if it's just top of your head.
Okay.
This is for Ambelina.
I'll do it for Ambelina. I know Ambelina. Fuck. Okay. Traditionally, and I think a lot of people would agree, and would agree, her best song ever has almost always been a song called All Too Well from the album Red. All Too Well is an incredible fucking song. So that's been the sort of the classic answer. So I'm gonna stick to that one because it's an easy one. But dude, if I'm wearing socks, it's a different answer. You know what I mean? It just changed.
That's awesome.
What if you're wearing like jandals, or thongs?
What if it's a little misty outside? There's a bit of fog.
Yeah.
You're on your way to
Oh, it's
work.
different. Right? No. It changes. Listen,
It's different to me too.
did I sleep on the right side of bed or on the left side of bed? That's a different thing. That's I don't know.
Speaking of walking to work, Vitz Patel asks, if there was a tree, what kind of tree would it be?
If there was a tree, a pine tree. I like pine trees.
Pine tree.
I think if there was a tree, it'd be a pine tree.
These are my favorite questions.
We have the best community.
The next question is going to be. The next question is literally going to be cookie.
You
interpret the question however you want it to be. It's just cookie.
So actually, Robin GL has another ridiculous question for you.
God.
He asks, is mango an overrated flavor?
Flavor, yes. Fruit, no. The fruit mango is great. Eating a mango is phenomenal. It's a good experience. It's delicious. You chop it up into little cubes. If you know, you know. If you know, you cut it, you make the little cubes, you spread it out, you eat it. Delicious.
I'm very fond of mango also. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, mangoes are great. The mango flavored things aren't as good,
I just have flashbacks to X-Men interview whenever somebody talks about mangoes.
I tried to avoid it. But I saw it in your face. I knew where you were at. We had it. But, I just want to say, even though it's been desecrated by Kind of Funny, the mango is a great fruit. Good fruit.
It is a good fruit. There's
taste.
I would say there are good variants of the flavor. Like there's a rare instance where I'm like, this is really good. But yeah, overall, I think it is very.
I think overall, if you give me like a mango candy, I'm like, I don't know about this. Okay, I will say the best mango flavored things. The Mexicans who do the mango lollipops with the chili powder. That's a very Mexican thing. That's the best. That's delicious. Give it to me every day. Good stuff. But if you give me the Sour Patch Kids that are like mango, like the tropical ones, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to do that shit.
I had this when I was working at Best Buy, one of my coworkers, she'd always just bought like these big bags of these little chewable candies. I forgot what they were called. But she would always bring them to work. And if you're one of the people she liked, she would always offer you one. So there's some days where I'd get like a cherry or a lime, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. And then there was those days where she's like, here you go. And I'm like, thank you. And I look at it, and it's a mango, and I'm like, thanks.
No, thank you.
Just, it tasted like sour plastic. It was just the worst.
No.
The worst.
Here's the thing about mangoes. The fruit itself tastes like tropical. Like you eat it and you're like, tropical. You think of it like it has the taste. But like on a candy, it's like they're trying too hard. It's like they're shoving an entire beach down your fucking face, and it's like you're at the beach. It's like I don't want it. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a lot of sand. It gets everywhere.
Shout out to the Mountain Dew Kickstart though. I forgot what the flavor is, but there's like a tropical flavor that it's like orange, pineapple, and mango, but it only tastes like mango, and it's the greatest thing I've ever had.
Now, okay, I'm gonna flip it. I'm sure that there's other questions, but I need to make my point here. I'm gonna make my flip on a fruit that is okay by itself. It's not bad. I don't dislike it. I think it's a good fruit. It's refreshing, but the things that are flavored of this fruit are always goat, and I'm talking about watermelon. Because here's the thing,
wholeheartedly agree on this subject.
Have the major melon Mountain Dew, the watermelon Mountain Dew?
I haven't tried it yet.
You could fucking shut off the show right now and go get one. Watermelon flavored things are always the best out of the entire bunch. If I see something that's flavored watermelon, I'm taking it. It's delicious.
Dude, like a watermelon piece of Trick cereal, back when they were actually shaped like fruit.
Yeah.
Sure, individual pieces were not at all they didn't taste any different. They were just all flavored the same thing.
Would you grab it and eat the red first and then eat the green?
Absolutely. I'm like, I love watermelon.
Yeah,
great.
that's
It's great.
That's awesome.
I completely agree with that.
So we have
Also, banana is the exact opposite
okay.
as well. Banana, love bananas. Banana flavored stuff, I
doesn't
can't
hit.
do it.
Gage, we should start a whole podcast about this. We should just go
I'm down.
through every fruit. Like,
is it better as the fruit or better as
what
the
do we think
flavoring?
about blueberries? What do you think about blueberries, everyone?
Blueberries would be so good, except they have those really tiny seeds. So you're like eating the blueberry, then every once in a while you get that little seed, and it's like,
we gotta move on. We gotta move on. We can't waste it. It's too good of an idea. We gotta save it for a show.
Absolutely.
So speaking of stealing Gage, our last community question: who would you steal from Simply Sassy, and why was it Ben?
It's Robin. Robin's the answer. Yeah.
Robin. God, who would I? Okay,
From
listen,
JC,
my creative brain is messing with me here because, like, my brain. I just went through 70. Like, you know, in Infinity War, where Doctor Strange is like, I just went through 1,000,000 realities. My brain just did that. It's like, okay, if I take Gage, we have the fruit show on lockdown. That's it. That's it already.
I love
if
how
I
that's the
take
thing
Phil,
now. That's just the thing
it's
now.
a thing. No, that's the thing. I'm writing it down. Trust me. I'm like, if I take Phil, I mean, he's got a great snake. I'm sure we can make good stuff happen out of there.
He's also got a good impression too.
He's got great impressions. All right. Okay. That's a different kind of content there. All right.
I regret not editing these shows now.
If I take Ben, I know Ben's an idiot. I know Ben. Ben's a dumbass, but in a good way, you know? But like, you guys get what I'm saying, right?
Actually, speaking of that, the next question comes from Anonymous, and it says, "Why are you a coward, Mario? Why haven't you accepted Ben's challenge for the next platinum race?" Yeah. I don't know who it's from, though.
Dude, I'm in. I beat your ass last time. I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh,
Okay, we gotta do it. I'm in. I'm ready.
That's the best. I just want to clip that out. It's like, yeah, Ben's an idiot. Just that's gonna be the breakout for this show.
Great. I'm glad.
I don't even know where to go from here.
Oh, there's so many places. Yeah.
I'm so broken.
Okay. You can take it in a lot of directions here. We've covered a lot. We've covered a lot on this show.
We have
all the important topics, you know, global warming, you know.
Right. Exactly.
Why did Beast fuck the mango?
One very, very big
things,
topic.
You know?
All of it.
We solved everything. We've got world peace now.
That's it. That's it. We can rest now.
It's about time.
We did the one extremely big topic.
It's very big.
All the
very
topics.
big.
Huge. You should see the size of our topic, you know?
It's a gargantuan topic.
I mean, I want to be humble about it, but it's you know, it's pretty big.
It's massive. It's a massive topic.
That's why Ben's camera's not on. You'd only see his topic.
It just doesn't fit in front.
You'd only seen it.
Can't see it.
The camera just doesn't know what to do. You know,
Doesn't. It breaks every single time he turns the camera on him. The camera just breaks.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Great show, everyone.
Yeah.
Good job. Wrap it up. Pack it up.
This is really good.
Ship it right there and right then and there.
I'm just waiting.
Seriously, thank you so much for coming on the show, there, Mario. That's been.
Thanks for having me. It's been a great time. We've covered a lot. It's been a journey.
This has gone some places that I wasn't expecting. Some of them were my fault, so sorry.
Right.
You're the producer, Gage. It's all on you, buddy.
I know.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
You run the show, man. It's on you. If it fucking falls off the rail 10 minutes in, that's on you, my man.
It's
so
true.
30 seconds in, you know.
Some would say that it didn't go off the rails. It actually just got better.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
saying.
I think it started off the rails. I think that's the thing.
It's
like
true.
the train wasn't even close to the rails, and it slowly pushed it there.
We set the example from the
That's a
very
roller
beginning,
coaster.
so.
You know, you never know what you're going to get.
Right.
Okay.
Had some high highs, some low lows.
In reality, do you have anything that you want to say? Anything you want to pimp out? Anything you want to say in closing to the wonderful people that are listening right now, so we can get this thing back on track?
Let's get it back on track. Yeah. Everybody who's watching and or listening, appreciate you guys first of all, and secondly, I would really like it if you guys want to check out both my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MarioNotBros, and the podcast, which you can find the video version on Twitch and youtube.com/MarioNotBros for the video version. Right after this, we're gonna carry on this momentum, and we're doing a one big topic for this upcoming week. So, if you enjoy this, I'm sure that's gonna get off the rails pretty quick too. So let's go do it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, I'll make sure I have all the links and stuff in the description for everybody, so you guys can just go down there and hit those links. Follow Mario on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitch, all that fun stuff. Ben, where can people find?
What a nice young man, you know.
Yeah, go follow Mario.
I try.
Yeah. Ben, where can people find
people can find me at twitch.tv/pleasebeexcited. You can find me at twitter.com/pleasebeexcited. You can find me over on the OU Pod, where we review TV shows, movies. We've got the new sports show. You can also find me obviously on Simply Sassy Vids. If you're listening to this and you haven't checked out Game Sass, please go over, check that out, give that a follow. Give it a watch, because that is some of the most fun that I've had making content in a very long time, and an absolute blast. So it's been a lot of months in the making, so that we had the pilot episode up now. If you'd like it, let us know so that we may look to do more in the future.
Bill, where can people find you?
Probably dead in my bathtub in about an hour, because I can't handle all this.
Yeah, rough.
Damn. I love how you try to get us back on track. It gets to you, and then you're just like, no, we're just gonna take a hard left.
Like, we were ending it on a good note, and then it just fucking.
I'm was just
coming in, Phil. It's coming in for a nice landing, and then.
I'd like to clarify that I'm not gonna go commit suicide. I'm just gonna have a brain aneurysm from just all the blood just rushing to my face from laughter right now.
Christ.
Okay. Okay.
Man,
so you can find me.
It really is.
It's coming down.
Oh shit! Hey,
Speaking of cats. Okay. Speaking of
God.
all that, you can find me at Phil J. Woodward on Twitter. That's 2 L's, and you can.
He's laying down. He's laying down. My cat.
I don't think I've ever seen a cat try to clean itself like that. It's like it's not even. It's just licking the air around it.
Yeah.
Or not.
You can find me on Twitch, Philip J. Woodward, and check out Simply Sassy, maybe.
Maybe.
On YouTube.
Or not, yeah. Gage, what about you, bud?
This is wow.
No.
You can find me on Twitter at GF2cool. It's all spelled out. Twitch.tv/GF2cool. Although I don't really stream anymore, but I might in the future. Twitch.tv/Simply Sassy Vids, I think, is the Twitch channel for Simply Sassy.
And Fruitcast, remember? Fruitcast
Sure.
for all your fruit needs, you know?
Yeah, well, find me on the Fruitcast on Twitch or youtube.com/MarioNotBros, I guess.
Yeah.
And
There it is. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
youtube.com/Simply Sassy Vids. Of course, you're here, so I don't know why the fuck I just said that. That's you're watching this video. Yeah.
Multi-branding. It's fine.
All that fun stuff. Go check out. Go check out past episodes of Out of Our League. Last episode we had Matt Batson on, which was a lot of fun. We've had a bunch of community members on, a bunch of members from Kind of Funny. We've had some big game industry people like Mike Bithell, because that's basically it. But that was a lot of fun, and we do have more awesome guests coming up. Stick around for next week. We are going to have the one and only. Let's see. I have to make sure I get this down for the show. Okay, you ready?
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm doing a drum roll for you.
The Hispanic heartthrob, Latino heat, Texas treat, clicking heads and ripping them to shreds. The globe-trotting, headshotting from Nitro Rifle from Twitch.tv, Andy Cortez. He'll be joining us next weekend, so it'll be a lot of fun.
That guy sucks. Well, you guys, what up?
It's gonna be awesome.
I love Andy.
Thank you guys so much for
Have
watching.
a wonderful day, everyone.
We'll see you in the next video. Jesus, that was the worst YouTube outro ever. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Fucking.
Use that one. That's good. That's